Imagine the very first family on earth, drama unfolding right from the start. Cain and Abel, brothers by blood, rivals by destiny. Abel, the shepherd, finds joy among his sheep, caring for each lamb as if it were his own. Meanwhile, Cain toils under the sun, his hands deep in the soil, nurturing the earth to share its yield. Both brothers decide to offer a token of their labor to God. Abel selects the finest lamb, its coat as white as snow, a true symbol of his devotion. Cain, not to be outdone, gathers the fruits of his hard work, the best of his harvest. But here's where fate twists the knife. God embraces Abel's offering with open arms. But Cain's, it's met with a cold shoulder. The rejection burns deep, scorching Cain's heart with a dark shadow. What happens when your best isn't good enough? When your effort is seen but not celebrated? Cain's face, once open and hopeful, now a mask of jealousy and brewing rage. Unable to quell the tempest within, Cain lures Abel to the fields. A walk, he says, a talk between brothers. But the fields bear no witness to reconciliation, only to betrayal. As Abel falls, so does the innocence of man. The first murder, brother against brother. And Cain, marked not just by his deed, but by his divine judgment. But why protect the guilty? Why mark Cain, a murderer, with a sign of divine protection? As the smoke from Abel's offering ascends heavenward, a symbol of divine acceptance, a dark cloud begins to form over Cain. Not in the sky, but within his heart. Imagine this. Cain, the elder brother, who has always strived to be the provider, the cornerstone of his family, now faces rejection. His offering, the product of relentless labor and sweat, dismissed. It's not just a no from the heavens, but a silent scream echoing, not enough. It's here, in this moment of profound rejection, that a seed of envy takes root in Cain's soul. This isn't just sibling rivalry. This is about his worth, his identity being questioned. And who's the mirror reflecting his failure? Abel, his younger brother, now favored and blessed. Cain's mind becomes a battleground. The thoughts that haunt him are relentless. Why him and not me? What does he have that I do not? It's a toxic whisper that grows louder with each passing moment, turning the once protective elder brother into a brewing storm of resentment. And as night falls over Eden, Cain wrestles with this inner turmoil, the weight of unmet expectations and unrecognized efforts consuming him. In the quiet of the night, jealousy festers, morphing into a plan so sinister it threatens to shatter the very foundation of this first family. What we see here isn't just a man scorned by the gods, but a brother undone by the very emotions that make us all too human. Jealousy, not tempered by love or reason, becomes the architect of an impending tragedy. Cain's inner turmoil reaches a boiling point. The seed of jealousy, now a gnarled vine strangling reason and compassion. Cain, with a heart heavy and dark, invites Abel for a walk, a simple gesture, yet laden with an ominous weight. "Let's talk, brother," he says, his voice a mix of bitterness and feigned calm. They walk through the fields, the very fields Cain toiled and sweated over, fields that bore witness to his rejection. No words are spoken, the silence as dense as the darkness around them. It's here that Cain's resolve hardens into action. The pent-up rage, the smouldering envy, all unleashed in one fatal moment. Without a word, driven by a storm of jealousy and despair, Cain turns on Abel. With a single act, brotherly bonds are shattered. Abel, the favored son, now lies silent beneath the very soil Cain had cursed. The shepherd, who once tended to life, now enveloped by the cold embrace of death. In this tragic moment, Cain becomes humanity's first murderer, marked forever by the blood of his own kin. What drove him to this end? Was it merely jealousy, or something deeper, a profound fear of inadequacy and rejection? As dawn breaks over the horizon, painting the sky with hues of grief and remorse, the earth itself seems to hold its breath. Amidst the calm, a voice breaks the silence, a voice that is not just heard, but felt. God speaks, not with wrath, but with a piercing inquiry that cuts deeper than any blade. Where is your brother Abel? It's a question loaded with infinite weight, echoing across the fields, resonating with the unspoken knowledge of what has transpired. Cain, cornered by his creator's question, lashes out with a defense shrouded in defiance. "Am I my brother's keeper?" he retorts, his voice a mix of defiance and despair. It's not just a question, it's a shield, an attempt to deflect the unbearable truth of his actions. God's question was not for lack of knowledge, but a call for confession, an opportunity for Cain to acknowledge his wrongdoing and perhaps seek redemption. Yet, in his response, Cain reveals more than just his guilt. He exposes the depth of his alienation from his brother and his creator. In this pivotal encounter, the heart of the narrative deepens. It's a moment that transcends time, posing a question to all of humanity. Are we not all our brother's keepers? What responsibility do we bear for each other? In the wake of Cain's defiant response, the air grows heavy, the silence thick with anticipation of divine judgment. God, whose questions were met with evasion, now pronounces a curse that is as inevitable as it is severe. "You are now cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand," God declares. This isn't just a curse. It's a fundamental alteration of Cain's existence and his relationship with the earth he once mastered. No longer will the soil yield its strength to him. The very earth that flourished under his care now rebels against him, a direct reflection of his moral severance from the natural order. "Driven from the ground, a fugitive and a wanderer, you shall be on the earth," continues the divine sentence. It's a punishment that extends beyond physical toil. It signifies a life of perpetual displacement, a never-ending flight from the stability and community he once knew. Cain's outcry in response reveals his desperation. "My punishment is greater than I can bear," he cries out. He fears not only the hardship, but the vulnerability of a life stripped of divine protection, exposed to the elements and potential vengeance. Cain, marked by his deed, now faces a world that mirrors his internal chaos and alienation. But even in the depths of punishment, there remains a glimmer of mercy, a mark of protection. Cain stands at the precipice of a life forever altered, his connection to the earth severed, his future uncertain. Fear begins to seep into the crevices of his hardened heart. "My punishment is greater than I can bear," Cain exclaims, his voice cracking under the weight of his realization. Here stands a man not only afraid of the loss of his livelihood, but also terrified of the potential retribution from those around him. Cain voices a chilling concern. "I shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me." It's a declaration filled with dread, a life looking over his shoulder, forever marked by the fear of vengeance. This fear isn't merely about physical survival, it's a profound sense of vulnerability. Cain, once a cultivator of the land, now fears the cultivation of vengeance in the hearts of those he might encounter. Each face a potential foe, each shadow a possible end. Yet, even in his darkest hour, the mercy of God manifests in an unexpected way. Responding to Cain's fear, God promises, "Not so. If anyone kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold." Thus, God sets a mark upon Cain, not only as a warning to others, but as a symbol of divine watchfulness over his life. This mark, often misunderstood and shrouded in mystery, serves as both protection and punishment. It's a constant reminder to Cain of his transgression and to the world of the consequences of sin. In the midst of Cain's despair and fear, God intervenes with a paradoxical gesture of mercy. He bestows upon Cain a mark. This is no ordinary sign. It's laden with divine significance, a complex symbol of both protection and perpetual reminder. This mark, it's mysterious, isn't it? Not just a warning to others, but a seal of divine oversight. God declares, "This mark will protect you. Anyone who dares to harm Cain will face vengeance sevenfold." It's a decree that resonates with a profound and terrifying authority. Imagine the isolation this mark brings with it. Yes, it protects Cain from physical harm, but at what cost? Everywhere he goes, the mark precedes him, a constant reminder of his sin, an emblem of divine judgment visible to all. But let's think deeper. This mark, while a protection, is also a form of mercy. In it, we see not just a barrier against vengeance, but a sign of God's ongoing relationship with Cain. Despite his grave sin, Cain remains under God's watchful eye, not abandoned to his fate, but marked by divine presence. So, what does this mark teach us? It tells a story of grace as potent as that of judgment. It teaches about the complexity of divine justice, how punishment can coexist with protection, how mercy can be woven through the fabric of retribution. This mark, some say it's a literal mark, others a spiritual sign. It's complex, right? It's protection, but it's also a reminder of Cain's sin. It's justice mixed with mercy. What's truly fascinating is how this mark transcends its immediate context. It's not merely a mark of survival, it's a profound symbol in the tapestry of human history. It questions the essence of punishment and protection, the duality of divine intervention. Think about it. Across cultures, marks have always held deep significance. They've been used to signify royalty, curse enemies, and even protect against evil. Cain's mark carries this tradition into the spiritual realm, serving as a divine emblem that signals both a warning and a ward. And what of us? Each of us bears our own marks, not visible like Cain's, but equally significant. They're the marks of our choices, our mistakes, and our triumphs. Like Cain's mark, they can alienate or protect, remind or warn. But there's more to this symbol. It's also a testament to the complexity of God's justice. It's nuanced, not vengeful. It's a justice that remembers mercy, a reminder that even in our darkest moments, we are not beyond the reach of grace. So Cain goes out from God's presence, marked and protected. Despite the weight of his past, he ventures into the unknown, carrying not just the burden of his actions, but also the seeds of humanity's first city. Imagine that. Out of his punishment sprouts a cornerstone of civilization. Cain's life beyond the mark is a testament to human resilience and the complexity of legacy. He builds, he grows, he establishes a lineage, yet he carries forward a legacy of violence and the profound consequences of his actions. Each stone of his city, while a sign of progress, also echoes the tragedy from which it arose. The mark of Cain teaches us about divine justice, mercy, and the enduring consequences of our choices. It's a narrative that resonates through ages, reminding us that our actions ripple through time, influencing generations. Consider the marks we leave on the world, through our actions, decisions, and the communities we build. Like Cain, are we not also architects of our legacies, for better or worse? But there's a deeper layer here, a call to introspection and morality. Cain's story urges us to ponder the nature of forgiveness and redemption. How do we respond to our own failings? Do we allow room for transformation? Or do we remain forever defined by our darkest moments? And so, the legacy of Cain is not just a cautionary tale of wrath and retribution. It's also a narrative of potential hope. A reminder that each day gives us a chance to redefine our marks, to build legacies of compassion rather than carry curses of past misdeeds.